It's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this May 22nd Rye Township Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance to our flag.
To the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would please join us in a moment of silence, please. Okay, well, hey, thanks everyone for coming out this evening. First item is citizen participation, and again, I see we have a lot of new folks here, so citizen participation is for comments from the residents, and we have a limit of 10 minutes at the beginning, and that is for items that are on the agenda, and then at the end of the meeting, there's also a 10-minute period for also public comment, and that could be items that were on the agenda or not on the agenda. Okay. So, is there any citizen participation at this time? Again, this is items on the agenda. Fred?
I see this Keystone Municipal Service contract.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain that?
Well, Daisy's retiring. She has quasi-retired already, but she's been willing to stay on until we find somebody. You're aware we did interview some folks, and what we offered was countered by their current employers. So based on advice from our council, what do we do in a situation like this? Because Daisy wants to go and we need somebody. So he was aware, because Bruce here and then Mike Pykosh is typically here. Mike represents, I think it's 7 other municipalities. And so he has experience in, the situation that we're in. So he put us in touch with Keystone Municipal Solutions. They provide these kind of transitory or transitional, if you will, kind of services. So we can, let Daisy go do her thing, her retirement thing, and also cover and provide services until we do find the replacement.
Is our advertisement still active?
Yes,
Yeah. I think we just renewed it.
we just re-advertised it.
And
So-
where did we advertise, just so that folks
Patriot
know?
News, Duncan Record again, Indeed,
Mhm.
and Penn Live has a website also, it's out there. And I took paperwork to Central Penn Cop.
Okay, I'm sorry, Fred. go
That's
ahead.
okay. So our advertisement is still active.
It is.
Do we have applicants?
We do.
Several?
How many do we have
Yes,
now?
I must have a half a dozen.
Okay.
And-
Any of them look promising?
Yes, I think so, I see potential.
Okay.
So when
We
will
haven't-
you
We
enter?
haven't seen,
No,
yeah, we have,
no.
the board
Just in
hasn't seen
general,
them
I
yet.
see
Yeah.
some good.
So that we have applications waiting for possible interviews.
That's correct.
So do you intend to approve this contract tonight before you interview?
Well, we intend to discuss it, but, I'm not gonna say that we're going to approve it or not until it's discussed by the board.
If you have a couple promising people to interview, I think that's what you need to do. Oh, another question.
Mhm.
What would Keystone Municipal Services, what would their fee be?
It's $110 an hour, and they're not gonna be full-time here. Yeah, it's $110 an hour, long contract, so,
Well, that's okay.
That's for the secretary or what?
that's for secretary treasurer. That's for what Daisy's doing right now.
So,
And this person that would be coming in, if needed, if the vote goes that way, has substantial experience in doing this and would help us make this transition. Whether, you know, we hire them short-term, a couple weeks, because I think it's, we can cancel it with 5 days' notice. So this isn't something that we need to sign on for and then we're committed to beyond 5 days.
But first, we need to do some interviews.
We do, but the interviews
That'll
didn't quite
take a
yield
little time.
Pardon?
That'll take a little
It
time.
will take a little time, and then you also have, you know, if somebody's likely already working somewhere, they need to give notice to their employer and things like that, so, and again, you know, Daisy's been kind enough to stay on, so,
And I'm still willing to
yep,
stay
and she's
on.
still willing to stay on, so, but again, we don't want to abuse that,
Well,
so.
As long as I don't resign, I'm here.
just quickly, $110 an hour, we could have 3 full-time secretaries.
Okay, and where would they come from?
Well, you've got some people to interview.
Well,
Well, and as I just said,
Hopefully.
you know, the process to interview them and their 2 weeks notice or, you know, more, I think the one we talked to, wanted even more than 2 weeks.
Well,
But, you know, we need something, we need to have a backup. Again, you know, we could decide to enter into this contract and the next day, hey, we still give 5 days' notice and, you know, that's all the township is obligated to.
well, I know you guys have a tough job, but
We're trying, Fred.
there's people that can do this job without paying $110 an hour.
Okay. Thank you, Fred. Is there any other comment at this time? Hearing none, well, thanks again, Fred. Appreciate that. We'll move on to approval of the minutes from the April 22nd meeting. I don't have mine out here. I read them earlier. I didn't have any corrections, comments, anything, anybody else?
No.
You were the first to say I don't, so is that a motion to approve those minutes? Second?
I'll second.
All in
it, yeah.
favor? Aye, those minutes are approved, thank you. Okay, announce and award the road bid, Stacy.
Okay. I'm going to give this to you guys. This is a summary sheet. Bruce, I think
Bruce?
it was-
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. And these were opened by me, but they were not seen by anyone else. They've been on my locked drawer. I put together the spreadsheet so that they can review them as we go. So I'm going to open them up and you can, do you want to read them?
No, if you would, please. That'd be fine.
Okay, this is Glenn Hallbaker, I think I'm saying that right, Hallbaker. And their bid, their total bid is $171,538. That's for all of the roads.
Do you want to announce what we're doing, or
Okay,
just what we're doing?
sure, it was advertised, but I will tell you, because it's a portion of Landscap Road from Evergreen, approximately 1,056 feet by 22 feet. And Spruce Road from the stop sign to the cul-de-sac, approximately 1,267 feet times 18 feet. And that's overlay and tack coats and all of that like it usually is. And then Mountain Road is from a point, when you go on Mountain Road, you will know
You see
where
the
the
arrow
bad
is.
area is, and you'll see the arrows, yes. But it's from a point to actually the municipal line, and it's 2,640 feet times 19 feet. Weaver Drive, which is in Leewood Village, from Lone Oak Road to the cul-de-sac, approximately 1,056 feet times 30 feet wide, which includes the cul-de-sac. And then the other item that was up for bid was the base repair for all of those different roads and portions of them. were combined into one, and that's what Rick Levan decided to do this year. It was a little confusing to me, but he estimated approximately how much base repair, and sometimes it's a little less, sometimes it's a little more, once you get involved in the road, but that was one of the items that they're also bidding on. So that's the 4 main roads that are up for repair and overlay this summer. That's all bid for. And let me double check, let me see, just let me double check it. There's a bid bond here. Contractors. It's probably the last one I'll look at. Yes, there's power of attorney. Yeah, there's a bid bond here, okay. All right, let's call Baker. The next one I have is New Enterprise Stone and Lime. And their bid was their total bid was $150,395. $150,395, and there is a bid bond with that. I just looked right to it. The next one is EK Services Incorporated. And their bid, I think was the highest, was $202,306.72. And they also have a bid bond. This is J. Falkrood and Sons. And their total bid was $169,630.22. Do not see the bond. Let me look again. Oh, right, there it is, I'm sorry, it's the last page. Okay, we do have a big bond with theirs. And this is Penn Supply.
Good.
Frank Smith is still there. I can't believe I already talked to him. Their total from Pensy is $159,360 is their total bid. And the last page on this one, attorney and a bid bond. So all of them have bid bonds.
Okay, thank you for that, Daisy.
You're welcome.
Was there anything else before we move to discussion?
I don't know what, if you just wanna
Okay.
look at the spreadsheet, you can see the
The-
tonnage, and the items that were
Yep.
bid. And you can bid them separately, but we normally, I mean,
Yeah.
accept them separately, but
Yeah.
normally
Yeah.
we give it all to all one company.
Yeah, so New Enterprise, we've used them the last 3 times.
I believe so,
Yeah,
I think it
and
has
they
been.
do a fantastic
They
job.
do.
Fran can
Yeah,
tell you more.
Yeah, so they're a known quantity. Their numbers are lowest in all except 2 cases, and in 1 case, it's a difference of $240 across 27,000, so we'll call that negligible.
Call that one.
The other one is 9350 versus 7500. You know, there are a couple thousand more, but I'd be inclined to give the entire award to New Enterprise. So
Well,
I'm-
Johnny went out with them and, showed them where he thinks there's base repair needed, so.
Oh,
Maybe
okay, so-
one would estimate more than the other one.
Okay. Okay. So So I'd make that motion to award the contract to New Enterprise for $150,395. Do we have a, well, comments first, sorry.
Yeah,
The vote, just-
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I won't, that's you,
Okay.
that would be my choice as
So I'll
well.
make that motion. Who makes the second?
I'll second.
Brad second, all in favor?
Aye.
Contract is awarded to New Enterprise. Are they here?
Yeah, Jimmy's back.
Jim
Oh,
Johnson is.
thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
I do.
Thanks for the great work. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me find that so you sign it, because it seems like
Yeah.
every year I miss it and then I have to call you back to do it.
Thanks for the nice summer. That's very
It does. It's kind of nice to have the average there and everything, so. Okay, there you go.
And do we just sign what, does Jim take a copy with him?
No, I send them
No.
a copy.
Okay, okay.
You know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's some other paperwork on it. I'll put it together and send it off.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that takes us to monthly municipal, thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Yep, thank
Monthly
you.
municipal reports, zoning code enforcement, zoning officer, JHA. Six items, no invoice, right, Katie?
No,
Okay,
not with those items.
okay. Okay, we don't need a motion because there's no bill to pay, right?
No.
So we'll put that up there. Sewage enforcement report, Daisy, you indicated we do not have one this month. That takes us to road report, Brad. Sean, who wishes to provide the road report?
They did spring bowl cleanup. Of course, mowed the grass here at the building, filled potholes in North Gap. Took tires to Montego. Extended pipe on Mountain Road to widen the berm prior to paving. Meet with the bidders for the road bids, set up for election. Cut up trees on Cruz Point and clean drain grates and side ditches throughout the town.
How many tires do we have?
I don't know how many they had this, they had a couple
What do
loads.
you think? Yeah,
Do we?
yeah, they took several,
I think they took at least,
2 days plus a half of another day
Yeah.
to get them up.
quite a bit.
They said we had quite a few tires.
So a lot of tires, but I heard it was kind of a low turnout from residents.
Turnout, it was Saturday. Saturday wasn't too bad. Friday was pretty busy.
Yeah, we didn't use as many dumpsters, I know
Yeah,
that. I did not
that's
get the
what I
bill yet, I
Okay.
would have put it on.
Yeah, Friday was pretty busy.
Okay. Thanks, Brad. Rec board report, do we have Nancy here?
No, she's not here tonight. She'll be here tomorrow. if you're ready.
Okay. Anybody else providing for Nancy? Okay.
There's really nothing to report,
Okay.
other than the fishing derby was canceled
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a bummer.
because of the rain, the water was too high, so they couldn't stock. And our ice cream event is 3 to 5 on June 14th, the day before Father's Day, up at Bethel Church.
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Okay, emergency management report, Jim or Kurt? See them here, so we.
I'm still working on the VHF radio application. And, there's a couple more questions that I don't have the answers for. And I was hoping to see Kurt tonight, because I have a direct line to the woman who is working us through. I'd say the application is probably 75 to 80% finished. She just needs a
Couple more
couple things as to how, some details in there that I have no idea. I don't know if Kurt even knows,
We'll
but
have to find
he
it.
has to find out.
it, yeah.
Yes. So that should be done hopefully next week. We can
Okay.
get the license moving through the FCC. There is a fee though. It's not 800 like that other company wanted to charge us. It depends on the details that Kurt gives me. It's $210 if it goes one way. It's double that if it's the other way. So
Is that a once and done, or is that an annual?
no, that's the, I forget how long it's good. The one we have now is good for 10 years.
Okay.
I'll have to find out how long,
It actually lasts.
how long it lasts.
But that's cheaper than $800.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Thank you,
So
Daisy.
we're moving along.
All right. Also, Daisy, financial treasurer's report,
Oh.
please.
Okay, the general checking account began with a balance April 1st of $322,100.06. Had receipts of $188,851.90, expenditures of $72,062.89, interest earned of $425.79, leaving us a balance May 1st in the general checking account at Penn Bank of $439,314.86. The Penny Inn general checking account had only interest activity and had a balance May 1st of $2,311.31. American Rescue Plan Funds money market account had a balance April 1st of $230,367.14, had interest activity of $651.34, with a balance May 1st of $231,018.48. The general savings account had only interest activity and had a balance May 1st of $2,521.91. Liquid fuels checking account had only interest activity and had a balance May 1st of $95.71. Liquid fuel savings account had only interest activity and had a balance May 1st of $2,716.20. And the CD will be coming due, I think it's June 13th, and I will take care of that. You've already done a resolution previously, and I will transfer that from the CD that is in at Penn directly into the liquid fuels checking account. So when we go to pay new enterprise, the money is in there.
Okay.
But we put it in there, I think we ended up with like maybe $1,100 in interest by doing
That's
that.
good.
So it helps,
Every little bit,
yep.
every little bit.
Okay. Are you finished, Daisy?
I'm getting fast.
Okay, that takes us to resolutions. The first one, resolution 25-20, road equipment CD at Penny Inn to 12-month 4.00% at Penny Inn.
Okay, this is a road equipment CD that's coming due, and the amount is approximately $76,575. This is road equipment, not road projects. And it's going into a 12-month CD for 4%. That way, if you do need it next year, if you decide to put some piece of equipment on the agenda for next year, if not, you can put it in for another year or 15 months, 18 months, and still utilize it in 2027.
Okay.
I know you're thinking of truck. But the money is in there
The old
accumulating.
one, the big truck, the oldest one.
Make a motion to approve resolution 25-20. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Sean, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 25-20 is approved.
Do you want me to go on?
Give me just a second here.
Okay.
Yeah, resolution 25-21, Item B, the bridge CD to 15-month CD at Mid-Penn Bank. Yeah, David, please.
Yes, it's just a bridge CD that is accumulating some funds for us, approximately $62,800, which is, if you have to do a big bridge, it's just a drop in the bucket. But it's going from, most of them are going down, unfortunately, the CD rates, but it's going from 4.55 to 4.20 in 15 months at Mid-Penn Bank. I'm gonna pull it from Landisburg and put it in Mid-Penn for the 15 months. As long as these rates don't go down, they're telling me they're going to be going down soon. This CD comes due, I think, tomorrow, so I'm gonna see if I can't get it in before they take them down again.
Okay. Motion to approve resolution 25-21.
I'll make that motion.
Sean makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Brad, second. All in favor? Aye. Resolution 25-21 is approved. Thank you, Daisy. We can go to resolution 25-22, general investment CD, Mid-Penn to 5-year CD, 3.2%
Yeah.
at Mid-Penn. Thank you.
This was a CD that was put in 5 years ago, and at that time, 1.5% was fantastic. Because we were getting, they were going into like, I mean, it went down to like 0.40, it was terrible. If you got 1%, you were doing well. Right now, the amount is $144,235, and I'm hoping that this holds, it's a little bit longer into June. I'm hoping that the 3.20%, or at least thereabouts, will hold for us so we can get this put in. It's an investment CD for us for another 5 years.
Thank you. Resolution 25-22. I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Sean, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 25-22 is approved. Takes us to the last one, resolution 25-23, the general fund budget CD, Daisy.
Okay, this is money that was put in the budget last year for, it says for the budget is generally designated for where it was needed, which we were thinking culverts. Well, obviously, with Heisley and New Valley, which is, New Valley's probably gonna be till the following year, that's more stable than Heisley is. So this money can be used this year to pull back in. So I'm only gonna put it in for you for 3 months to get a 4.25% interest. Right now, there's approximately $102,100. So you'll get a little bit more interest. And then if you need to pull it back in, after 3 months and 10 days, you can do that. And we do have a schedule out there as to maturity dates. We have a maturity date schedule, so it's easier to follow.
Make a motion to approve resolution 25-23. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 25-23 is approved. Thanks again for that, Daisy. We're ready to move on to new business? I don't
I
want to
think so,
rush
yeah.
with your staff there.
That's good.
Okay, so time extension, Barlup Land Development Plan.
It's just a letter from Sally
Okay.
asking to, and they have not come in again for the June meeting.
Or they're
Because
not on the agenda. They weren't, in the they didn't come to the May meeting.
they didn't come to May, and the dates passed for
For-
the June, so.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
they didn't miss a window or,
No,
there's no issue with,
No, there's no issue with it, they're just, he said they are trying to figure out what
option to choose.
option to choose.
Because they have two
The
different,
commission gave them.
they have two different choices to make.
The commission gave them recommendation.
okay. From Burgett and Associates. Please accept this letter as a formal request for a time extension for approval of the Barlup subdivision / land development plan. Additional time is needed to revise the plan based on review comments. Okay. We are requesting a time continuance until August 2025 Supervisors Meeting. I'm okay with that extension. Anybody else? Any issues with that?
No,
No, I don't.
Okay.
Do they, Did they give a date?
Yeah, August 2025.
Well, that's not a date, that's just a month.
Well, the meeting, the supervisors meeting.
Okay, so
2025 supervisors.
So that would be the 26th,
26th?
26th of August, it looks like. That's the fourth Tuesday.
Just putting that in right before the meeting. I have no idea. Okay.
I'll make a motion to grant the extension until August the 26th.
Okay, do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Hopefully they'll know what they're doing.
Hopefully
or not doing.
they'll have it together by then.
Do you need to do something to
I
rectify?
don't know what it's doing, I just put a new battery in it, but I'll go grab, let me go
Okay,
grab
yeah,
one
yeah.
quick.
We'll take care of this as well. Let's go.
It's still running, I don't know what it's called. I didn't stop. This is good.
Okay, we'll hold off to.
Okay, I'll write it down.
Yep.
That's good. It's brand new. I hope it's not big off too long. So,
No, it's-
there we go.
okay.
Now it should come off.
If we need to get a new one of those, Daisy, because I think you've had problems with it, just
Actually
pick one
have
up
one,
and we'll
and
just.
I have
yeah.
asked the person who was the planning commission secretary to please bring it back for the last 2 months.
They're cheap, and let's not even, yeah,
I
it's too
can't get
important.
one.
It's-
I mean, I couldn't get it back.
Oh, yeah, let's.
Sorry for it again.
It's actually better than this one. I was trying to get it back. Well, that's what it's telling me.
Can you record with your phone? I just-
There you go.
Okay,
Good.
we're good? We're good,
Good.
okay. Okay. This helps us with, putting together the minutes after the meeting, so that's why we didn't want to
We're good.
proceed without. Okay, so we are on to, bless you, renew temporary permit for 1860 Valley Road, new home build.
They need another renewal. They are building the home by themselves with the help of a few outside contractors, but, and they said the weather, of course, they got into winter too, so they didn't get much done over winter. But it runs out tomorrow, so.
Okay, they're pretty far along.
They're getting there. I'd say the framing's,
Okay.
they're doing, first floor and second floor. The framing's pretty much done. And once they get that done, I think it's gonna start
It'll
moving,
go
you
fast.
know.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have any issue with needing a temporary permit. Make that motion, give it a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Temporary permit, and for 6 months,
Mhm.
okay. And then Max will sign.
No, you sign that the board of supervisors signs that.
Well, yeah, but it says zoning officer on here, though.
Well, you just have, I can take. You just kind of blanked that out, I'm sorry, I should have. Yeah, it's not the zoning officer, the board of supervisors is the one. who-
Granting the.
That's fine.
Right, there you go.
All right.
Thanks, Daisy.
Thank you.
Okay.
She'll be happy.
Yes, no, hey. Request for proposal from SEK, which is our auditing, folks, for 2025, 26, and 27 financial audits.
This is just to go out like we did with Penn Waste and see where we're standing with costs for them.
Did they indicate that they think it's gonna go up, or they didn't say?
They didn't say, but I'm
Okay.
sure it'll go up some,
Uh,
but, all you have to do is ask. If it's too much, then you can go out for, it's professional service, so.
Okay. So we just need an approval for,
For me to ask,
yep,
kind of.
I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Brad, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Daisy.
Yeah, I just noticed that was the last year of their
Their
3-year
contract.
contract.
Keystone Municipal Services contract regarding Secretary Treasurer position. So Fred helped us out with kicking that conversation off again. Daisy has retired or is in the process of retiring. We're looking to hire somebody that could come in the interim.
But I'm telling you, I will stay in the interim. I've said that all along.
Because you don't have an
I
official
really,
date.
I don't wanna stay 6 months,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. But I feel that you have not seen them yet, because I've been pulling them off. Every day I'm getting more. I got really good response from the ads. I'm very pleased. It's better than, much, much better than we had before. And, I wanna talk to you about maybe setting up some interviews, possibly next week. And, so I really don't think it will be that long that we will be able to get someone.
Okay, if we don't though, at this meeting.
Right.
We've gotta wait till the next, so
I
can
will
we
be
make,
here.
understood, can we make it contingent? First, I'm sorry, can we make the acceptance of the contract, should that be the decision? Let's say we give it 2 weeks and, it's not panning out, the folks that have applied.
Sure.
Can we accept the contract based on if 2 weeks from now we don't have a viable candidate?
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem.
Okay.
But why would you need someone if I'm going to be here?
Again, we can, it's our plan B in case it doesn't. So otherwise, we'd have to have another.
Here's the other question too. If we say, okay, in 2 weeks, we wanna move forward with it, but then what happens if after we find somebody that's fine, we cancel it? But what happens if we cancel it? But then what happens if something falls through? Do we need to go through the whole process of getting a new contract with them, or can we go back to this contract for them?
If we interview folks.
And determine that we think we got someone we're gonna get or whatever, but then something ultimately falls through after we've canceled this one.
Well, it's always fallen through right away.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we would, I think if we found somebody, we would just, just as a matter of courtesy, we would also keep these folks.
Well, yeah, you'd have
informed.
to.
Hey, here's where we are, and then if it falls through, I wouldn't think that there would need to be a new contract. This would be a contract good for, I can't recall what it says for what number of, the offer, if you will, the terms.
Could you delay it?
The issue really is, if Daisy is here, if you can get somebody else in place that starts working and then everything works out, there's no need for this. However, if for some reason Daisy can no longer continue and you haven't yet got somebody to replace her, then this would be useful to have somebody come in to fill in that gap period until you can get somebody else. And I also understand from Mike, another municipality that he represented had used this service, and they also helped when they finally did hire a new person. The person from this company helped onboard them and train them and help them get up to speed for a couple of weeks before they cut out. So it can be useful. It really just depends on how long Daisy intends to stay.
And really, my circumstances have changed since my initial need to, or want to retire, since my husband is gone. So I'm not as concerned. Like I said, I don't want to go another 6 months, but a few months, I'm okay with
Is there
that. To
a,
help out the people.
is there a
That's what I like to
minimum
do.
amount of hours required per week?
I mean, the thing is, if Daisy thinks she's gonna be here for at least another month, and if she thinks
Definitely.
that these people that are putting the applications that are coming in are promising, you may just wanna table this until the next meeting, and then see where you are then.
Because we would have a better,
We see how.
We most definitely should have
I'm not just saying that, I really do feel there's a couple that are very promising.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, okay, I'm just concerned that, again, we had two candidates that fell through, but,
well,
you know, if it's not
But
gonna be
we
that
only
big.
had one candidate, so we didn't have
No,
somebody
no,
involved.
we've had
couple,
we've
but,
had several.
yeah, but not,
I thought there were gonna be two. I saw it.
No, there was the third.
Well, there
We
was-
made two offers, the third, we.
Yeah.
We didn't make it an offer to.
yeah.
Oh, well, they
Yeah.
weren't qualified.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I meant.
Yeah,
candidates
let's
that were
not go into
qualified.
detail
Yeah, that
on
doesn't-
that.
Right.
That
Uh,
doesn't matter.
All right, it sounds like if you guys wanna table this, I mean,
Till next meeting.
I don't want us to get stuck, but again, you know. hey,
No, but
we're not hold off,
but
that's-
you're absolutely right, we need something like that in our hip pocket now, so.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
I can understand that.
okay, so,
I'll make a motion to table till.
I'll second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, yep, we'll table that until the next, hopefully we don't need it.
And hopefully by then we'll know.
Okay,
I hope so.
Yeah.
all right. That takes us to renewal of the Penn Waste trash collection contract. Daisy, please.
Okay, I did go to reach out to Penn Waste, and it's a different municipal contract manager. It's a woman this time, which makes no difference, but, her and I seem to have hit it off, and we have a good working relationship like I did with Joel. And, they gave us, the first bid that we got was about a 6% increase. And I went back to them and said, you know, that's a bit much, see what you can do for us, and they came back with a 4% increase. Right now, it's about $18,000 a month for, trash collection. $18,033 and some odd cents. I requested that they please remove the cents from the bids. I don't know why they do that. So she said, oh, no problem, and then they took it down, to a 4% increase. I knew it would still go up
Right,
because
you can't expect it to.
I know
Stay
they're
the
having
same.
trouble getting people, that's why
Yeah.
sometimes trash routes are a mess.
So we just need a motion to approve the.
If this
the
is,
next
if that's okay
Your
with
solid
you,
waste,
this is a
contract,
2-year
okay.
contract extension.
Yeah,
Or you could counter if you wanted me to go back to them.
for the sake of what it is, I don't think we can ask for a whole lot better.
What's our
than
other
that.
option?
They took
Because-
down 2%.
Yeah.
The other option is a big formal bid of everything, you know, to get, and who
Right, but we
knows?
haven't had success with that in the
No, we
past.
haven't.
So that's.
Yeah, the last time, these were the only guys that bid at period, so
Yep.
I,
And they do a good job.
right,
so-
and there's nothing, yeah, they're good.
So, was that a motion?
I would make a motion to extend their contract for 2 years.
I'll second.
Is there a?
All in favor? Contract is approved, contract extension. What do you?
Are you missing
I'm looking
something,
for-
Daisy?
Here it is. I'm looking for, this is the agreement. And that would be, first of all, you need to approve that, and then you need to approve, this is just a resolution which is kind of documenting the, that you're going to enter into a 2-year agreement, and you're accepting that proposal.
Where's the rate?
I'm gonna make sure I got the numbers right.
Yep, you have the right numbers on there.
And there are 2 originals of that, because then I have to send
Send
them
one
to
back to
them so
them.
they can sign it for you.
Is the solicitor need to look at these for any reason?
What's that?
Do you wanna take a look at those just for any, just cursory glance?
It's the same resolution.
Is what it was probably the last time,
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Except I added that this was the second.
Second renewal.
Yeah, and it does not change the initial contract, the terms and specifications.
That's all the
at
same.
That's all the same.
The only thing that changes is the price.
Right.
All it's doing is, yeah, it's just keeping the old contract in place and raising the prices
Right.
for
Right.
25 and 26.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I missed a motion, did you make a motion?
Sean made the motion, I second, and Brad was in favor.
We're all in favor.
Okay. And that is resolution
25, 24.
24. I even printed your name for you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right.
We all done there, Dave?
We're done with that, yes.
Okay. That takes us to announcements. So May 26th, the office will be closed for Memorial Day. Trash will be collected Wednesday, May 28th. June 14th, strawberries and ice cream from 3 to 5. Rain or shine event at Bethel Independent Church at Rear Point Road. Approval and payment of the bills, Daisy, please.
General fund checks 18305 to 18320 in the amount of $11,244.01. There were no expense checks voided. Payroll checks 8505 to 8510 in the amount of $4,812.36. Payroll checks 8511 to 8519 in the amount of $5,845.20. There were no payroll checks voided.
Okay. Do we have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make the motion to. Brad, second. All in favor? No, that's, the bills are approved to be paid. Thank you for that,
Quick,
Daisy.
pay the bills.
Kinda gotta do that.
Yep.
Okay, that takes us to the second part of citizen participation, and again, remind folks, it's a total of 10 minutes, and I'm gonna take a few minutes first, which is not gonna take from the 10 minutes, just to give a little backstory, because I know we have a lot of new folks here. Myself, I was new at one time and had no idea how all of this functioned, so I just wanted to go through the purpose of what some of the boards are, why, we're here, what our roles are, what our responsibilities are. Also, Mr. Warden here, our floodplain manager, planning commission, things like that, just so it'll probably help you, if you have questions, it'll help you frame them with that understanding of some of the detail here. So first, purpose of this Board of Supervisor and the meeting. And I'm just gonna read this because it's easier, but the purpose of the Pennsylvania Township Board of Supervisor meeting is to conduct the official business of the township in a transparent and accountable manner. These meetings are essential for local governance and serve several key functions, one being decision-making. The board acts as the township's governing body, making decisions on a wide range of issues, including land use, public safety, infrastructure, and local ordinances. With regard to budget and finance, the supervisors adopt the township's annual budget, levy taxes, and approve expenditures to ensure responsible financial management. Public input, meetings provide a forum for residents to voice concerns, ask questions, and I want to be clear about, questions is not a back and forth. There's a deliberation that's supposed to occur is supposed to be among the elected board members, so I just want to make that clear. We welcome comments, again, because I can tell you personally, in the past, I've received a comment from the audience about something I was not aware of, and it was relevant, and it actually changed our decision. So that was, it is welcome, and I just want you to know that. But please be civil to one another. Sometimes things get heated, but we try to, be neighborly to everyone. So, yeah, public input, offer input on township matters, policy and ordinance development. The board enacts local laws ordinances, and policies that affect the daily lives of residents, such as zoning, regulations, noise ordinances, and public health rules. Oversight and administration. Supervisors oversee township operations, including public works, emergency services, and administrative functions. They may also appoint township officials like the secretary or treasurer. Transparency and accountability. By holding meetings that are open to the public, the board ensures that its actions are visible and accountable to the community. Then solicitor. Again, before I started here, I had no idea what a solicitor is. That's another name for attorney and
Well, it's actually, I guess it comes from the English system. English, they have barristers that are attorneys that appear in court and argue cases, and then they have solicitors that basically work in the office and do land use and contracts and real estate sales and stuff like that. Although lately, it's been blurring a little bit, and they've let solicitors appear in court on certain matters, which didn't make the barristers very happy. Barristers are the guys that wear the
we don't have any
wigs.
barristers.
The men and women that wear the wigs and the coats, they don't have that separation in the United States. I don't think they ever did.
Okay. So, bring that up for the solicitor, because again, the board, we have legal obligations and there are laws that we need to adhere to, so, and neither one of us is an attorney. So we have folks like Bruce here to advise the township. And also it protects the residents because, the taxpayers, we need to be mindful of not stepping on something that's going to blow up financially and, either reflect reputationally on the township or financially. That's always a big concern. But it serves as chief legal advisor to the township's elected officials and the administrative staff. Their role is essential for ensuring that township operations comply with state and federal laws. Here's a breakdown of their responsibilities. Legal advisor to the township. The solicitor provides legal counsel to the Board of Supervisors and other township officials. They interpret laws, ordinances, and regulations that affect township governance and operations. They represent the board or the township in legal matters. The solicitor prosecutes and defends the township in legal actions, including lawsuits and administrative hearings. They handle matters involving zoning disputes, contract enforcement, code violations, and employment issues. Drafting and reviewing of legal documents, they will prepare and review ordinances, resolutions, contracts, agreements, legal notices, and I point that out because, again, we're not attorneys, so, ordinances have legal weight to them, and we're not qualified to write those things and just put them out there, so we have folks like Bruce to advise the board. Attendance at public meetings, they often attend public meetings to provide real-time guidance, help maintain order, and ensure compliance with laws like the Sunshine Act. They assist with parliamentary procedures such as making proper motions and advising on procedural issues. Maintaining attorney-client privilege. While they work in a public setting, solicitors must balance transparency with the need to maintain attorney-client confidentiality, especially during sensitive discussions. And then lastly, specialized legal support. In complex or unusual situations, solicitors may coordinate with or refer to special counsel with expertise in areas like environmental law, labor law, or litigation. Bruce, have I missed anything?
No, you got it. Very good.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to read fast enough to keep this going, but not too fast. So we also have a planning commission, and I want to point out because, there's volunteers within the township, but we've got, the township has a planning commission. There are 7 volunteer members on that. There's a zoning hearing board. Those are all volunteer folks. There are 6 people on that board. There's a recreation board. There are 9 volunteers on that. Emergency management, we have 2 volunteers that are willing to do that. And then floodplain management, that's Mr. Warren here. He's been kind enough to, he not only serves on planning commission, but he also serves as floodplain manager for the township. He has the expertise to do it, and we are grateful for his expertise. That's 25 volunteers right there. If you were here on Tuesday to vote, you may have seen folks that are here, and if you voted before, you see the same people all the time. These folks volunteer every election. As a matter of fact, Carolyn Heisey, this was her 50th.
Yeah.
This is her last.
It's her last year, but it's her 50th, yeah.
She's done, but she's been doing it for 50 years.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. So thanks. First of all, let's put that in the minutes. We want to recognize that she did that. And then Jackie Fisher, Robin Vickers, Bob Moore, and Deb Moore were also here. And again, this isn't some easy task. They were here, when I opened the building at 6:15 Tuesday morning, they were here. And when we left, I think it was 9 o'clock Tuesday night, that's when they left. Some of them went home. Some of them drove up to the courthouse to take the results up there, get it processed, and then they come back at night and hang the results on the door for all of us to see. So I just want to recognize those folks again. That's from, 6:15 in the morning until 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, and they always do it, so very much appreciated. That said, so there's a planning commission, and this isn't gonna take too much longer. So planning commission, it's an advisory body that's established under Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code. Its primary role is to guide and shape the physical development of the township through planning and land use regulation. Quick breakdown of the responsibilities. So their core functions is comprehensive planning. They prepare and update the comprehensive plan, which outlines long-term goals for land use, housing, transportation, community facilities, and natural resources. They also ensure that development aligns with the township's vision and needs. Subdivision and land development review. They review subdivision and land development plans submitted by developers, make recommendations to the Board of Supervisors regarding approval, modification, or denial of these plans. Zoning and ordinance recommendations. They assist in drafting and updating zoning ordinances, subdivision and land development ordinances, and other land use regulations. They recommend zoning changes and review conditional use applications. Public hearings, they conduct public hearings to gather input on planning issues and proposed developments. They encourage community involvement in shaping local policies and land use decisions, environmental and infrastructure planning, participate in planning for stormwater management, floodplain management, sewage facilities, and transportation infrastructure. And lastly, intergovernmental coordination. They coordinate with county and regional planning agencies and may participate in multi-municipal planning efforts. And again, Gordon has served on that board and continues to serve on that board. Sean Fetter here also serves on that board. And I can tell you, they have been here, depending on what the issue is, it's been midnight, past midnight? I mean, the meeting starts.
Nah, we haven't had many of those.
Not many,
Not
not many, but
many,
you've done it.
It happens.
You've done
but
it.
yeah.
Wasn't it, not too long ago, it was always 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it always
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
but-
so there's a lot of folks that volunteer to make happen what happens here in the township. And then lastly, floodplain administrator. In Pennsylvania, a township floodplain administrator plays a critical role in managing development within areas designated as floodplains. And we don't designate them as floodplains, that's Corps of Engineers and FEMA and folks like that, that's their area of expertise. We're just told what they are and where they are. Designated as floodplains to reduce flood risks and ensure compliance with federal and state regulations. They permit oversight, so Gordon's job is to review and issue floodplain permits for any construction or development within identified floodplain areas, and ensure that all proposed projects comply with local floodplain ordinances and the National Floodplain Insurance Program, which I wasn't even aware was a thing. But luckily Gordon was and is educated in that area. Regulatory compliance, so interpret and apply digital flood insurance rate maps to determine flood risk zones. Enforce the Pennsylvania Flood Management Act and local ordinances to prevent unregulated development in flood-prone areas. Public and interagency liaison, serve as the point of contact for floodplain management with federal, state, and local agencies, including FEMA and PEMA, and educate property owners, developers, and the public about floodplain regulations and risks. Record keeping and reporting, so they maintain detailed records of floodplain permits, elevation certificates, and development activities. And they assist in community participation in the community rating system, which can lead to reduced flood insurance premiums for residents. So it's important. Emergency and risk management, they support emergency planning and response related to flooding. That's the last of the backstory. Again, I just wanted folks to know how things happen here and what the volunteers, we have many of them, we're blessed to have many of them. We have a great deal of professionals here in the township that make things happen behind the scenes, and we just wanted to recognize them and, you know, also share with you folks why some things, why decisions are made, or why they go a certain way, and why we have to be cautious when we seek counsel also on making decisions so that we don't get the township in a situation that doesn't want to be in. So, with all of that said, we can move on to citizen participation. And again, it's 8 o'clock on the nose. We limit it to 10 minutes, so if you'd be respectful that a number of folks want to speak. I think there's 6 or 7 here. So, Elena, would you like to go first? Elaine, I'm sorry, Elaine. That's right.
I have just a very few remarks to make on an issue that I think you are alluding to in your introduction, and it is about the pending lawsuit against the Rye Township Community
I'm sorry,
Association.
Elaine.
It concerns the
Yeah,
park.
can you, yeah, no, that's fine. No, can you just give us a minute? I want to make sure that Daisy, because again,
I
she
don't know
uses that
what's wrong with
to record minutes. We want to make sure that we don't miss something.
Well, I can give you a copy of my statement.
Oh, if
And
you
we are
wouldn't
running through a
mind.
lot of time here.
I'm sorry?
We're running through a lot of time.
Oh, no, you're not on the clock, sorry. I should have said that. Yeah, this is our fault.
I don't know what else to do, try it. I'm sorry.
It's all right, I can give you a copy. Well, it strikes me that there are few things more dear to the American heart than its parks and its ball fields. Rye Township has one. The real point here is not a permit or a floodplain, but what is best for the children growing up in our community, that they continue to enjoy a safe and welcoming space to picnic, to learn to fish, to play ball. I believe that for most residents of Rye Township, this is the only important issue in this particular issue, and it is the welfare of our children. So thank you for your attention to my brief comment.
Thank you. If you, could you say you have if it's your only one, don't.
No, if you're
Just want to
going
make
to
sure
put
we.
it exactly there, pretty much
Thank
it.
you, Elaine.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, I'm sorry, who's, Rebecca Schulze.
Hi.
Hi.
In the past year, the RTCA has obtained grants for the Rye Community Park, specifically for playground mulch, parking lot stone, and ball field repairs. With the help of these grants and over 1,300 hours of volunteer time provided by community members, we have revitalized the park property and continue to pursue grants for maintenance of the items at the park. The township is now suing the RTCA $12,000 for replacing the outfield fence, stating it's a development in the floodplain. When I look at that ball field, I see less development than when I played softball there in 2014. The field no longer has the dugouts, sideline fencing's been removed, and the right field bleachers and scoreboard are gone. All these items had to be removed to make the field safe to play on again. The outfield fence was replaced to create a safe place for children to play, as the past fence was leaning, broken, and rusted. This township has only one park, and the community deserves to have a safe, beautiful park to enjoy. The ball field was reserved 5 days a week this spring, and the park is being reserved and used all year round. We have offered to meet with the supervisors and floodplain administrator. Those requests have been met with silence. We encourage the township to meet with the RTCA to discuss how we can coexist. We would like to find a way to work together to move the community and the park forward.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Keiner? Jeff Keiner? Keiner?
Keiner's fine, yeah.
Yep.
All right, first I wanted to say, we have no practice tonight, and I still have most of my team here, so thank you for showing up. It's impressive, but honestly, I've been impressed with you young ladies for quite some time. Your parents are okay as well. We're all talking about the same issue here. I am the head coach of Nita Rumble 12U. We're a local travel team, softball. Our team currently consists of 9 full-time players. Over the past year, 16 girls have practiced with our team at the Rye Field. These girls are all from Perry County. They are from Shermansdale, Newport, Duncannon, and Marysville, including Rye Township. We started practicing at the Rye Field last July. Prior to this, I had heard there was a field at this location, but it was overgrown and unplayable. However, through the work of Rebecca, John, and I'm sure many other volunteers, it was transformed into what you see today. Since last July, we have held approximately 55 practices on this field. From now through November, we will hold another 50 practices on this field. We probably should be a little better with all that practice. In addition to Nita Rumble using this field, this spring, Marysville Baseball and Softball Association, MBSA, started to use the field as well. Why? There simply aren't enough fields for the number of kids and teams they have playing. That's a good problem, but it is still a problem. One that I would hope the community, including Rye Township in this instance, would like to help to be a part of the solution to. MBSA had 5 softball teams practice at the Rye Field this spring. This means that another 50 to 60 girls utilize this field. In speaking with the president of MBSA, I was told that baseball could use the field as well in the future. MBSA has approximately 120 youth baseball and softball players in its organization, many of them residents of Rye Township. So what we are really talking about here is a baseball field, a place for kids to play, to learn a game, to have fun, and hopefully learn a little bit about life and how to treat one another along the way. We all want our kids to grow up and do the right thing. That's what I call on you all to do now. I'm not pointing fingers or telling anyone how they should feel. I honestly don't care about who is right or who is wrong, about the past, or who is going to win or lose. The truth is, if this can't be worked out, only true losers of this lawsuit will be the 136 kids of Marysville and the greater Perry County. They are just looking for a place to play a game and have some fun. I ask that you do the right thing. We ask that you just let us play ball. Thank you.
Right here, I'm
Yeah.
his wife.
Mhm.
While I'm not a resident of Rye Township, I live in Marysville, and 2 of my daughters play for the Nita Rumble travel softball team, which regularly practices on this field. Not long ago, this park was in a dire state. It was unsafe, unusable, and very neglected. However, thanks to the efforts of RTCA, the space was transformed into a safe and functional practice area that both families and teams can now enjoy. It was once an eyesore, but it was brought back to life. The allegations concerning permit violations come as a surprise, and it's very deeply disheartening to see them now facing legal challenges, RTCA, despite their dedicated efforts to improve this space. The situation, to me, personally raises questions about the true origins and motivations behind the lawsuit. If both parties involved have their differences, why are we involving others? It's all about the kids. So on behalf of the Nita Rumble softball team and many others who rely on this field, I urge you to recognize the immense value RTCA has brought to our community and to pursue legal action against them risks undoing all the progress that has benefited countless individuals and families, especially our children.
Thank you, Nicole. Ralph, turn.
Our softball team started this field in late '81. I believe Brad and Daisy could attest to what it looked like when we started it. We leased it from the community association. We got no help, and we didn't want any help from the township or the community association. We had fundraisers, and we transformed that field into a kind of a premier field from like '82 to 2012 when our team folded, and we kind of gave it back as an excellent looking field at that time. but nobody took it over from 12 to when John and his crew took that field from the mess. The dugouts were falling apart, overgrown and stuff like that. So from 81 or 82 to 2012, I'm sure Brad and Daisy could attest that field looked excellent. And we got grants and stuff, but to not, when I just looked at it as I parked here, and of course the rain raised some havoc on it right now, but from these people that have testified about their children, and I just don't believe any lawsuit or type of nitpicking of a wetlands or in whatever. I mean, it's just a gray area, I think, where that fence could be, because we had the fence a lot further out into the, if that's wetlands, and it was okay. They moved it in, and of course, possibly somebody decided, well, it could be wetlands, but I just think the children deserve that field. There's a lot more people use it than when we had it. We had it for ourselves, but we opened it up. Anybody could use it if we didn't use it. But I just, think that you should all work together and make it for the children. Thank you.
John, would you like to close out? You're the last on the list.
Okay, thank you. So in the last meeting, Jim, you asked about a possible answer to the wood chip issue.
I'm sorry, what?
The wood chip issue?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. There is a park next to the township building that has trails that could use the chips and have them spread. Based on our discussions with the DEP, the board has issues with fill in the floodway also, and the park could help with a location to move it to. The board and the RTCA need to start working together for the betterment of our community and the park. In the June 2023 Supervisors Meeting, the board wanted volunteers to take care of the park and didn't want taxpayer money to be spent on it. The Wright Township Community Association stepped up and took over maintenance of the park and obtained multiple grants to perform maintenance of the items at the park, between installing mulch, painting the pavilion, and making the ball field safe for kids to use. The RTCA and volunteers have over 1,300 hours of volunteer time over the past 2 years. We would like the park and all the services associated with the park to remain open. We would like to find a way to work with the township on a way to move forward in a productive and mutually beneficial way. And we can make ourselves available to discuss these matters. So, thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay, there's no one else on the list, but did somebody have what's on to add? Okay, hearing none. Before I move on to Gordon, and because he's the expert in this field, Ralph, I know you said about it not being a wetlands, and I've always been told it's a wetland. RTCA told us this was before my time. The township tried to do something to help dry that area up a little bit so it could be used, and the township, talking about working together, is again before my time, so this is secondhand. But the township tried to help that field drain so it could be usable, and the township got it turned around on them. It didn't go well, is what I'm told, and I understand was initiated by some current members of RTCA. So this has been an ongoing. The board has tried to do more with that township. This whole thing started with.
What year was that?
I'm sorry?
What year? When was
Please
that?
hold your comments. It started with, the township was leasing the property from the RTCA. The township maintained it, as far as mowing grass and things like that. The rec board was utilizing it. I don't know, I don't want to be wrong here, tell me, was RTCA holding events there? So I don't know that they were. But anyway, so we were leasing it, and we had a concern about safety when people are in the park, and I don't mean a bunch of people, I'm talking about, it's Tuesday morning, some mother brings her little kids by the park, and you can't see in the park. So the concern was we should clear some of this brush out along the roadway to open it up. And that's all we were going to try to do, but we were told that it's a wetland, you can't do that. So we did some checking, and we were told, no, you can cut it. And this was somebody that was knowledgeable in the area, because again, we're not. You can cut it, you can't remove it. So, okay, so we're going to do that, because again, we want to open the park up. And that was met with resistance. We did also meet with a gentleman named Doug Boyd, who I happened to find by happenstance. He owns a company called Turf Time, I think it is. And he does, Jeff, I think similar to what maybe you do. He has these travel
He has,
teams.
I don't think he coaches anymore. He has a facility in Carlisle. He does like batting lessons and stuff.
So he was willing to, because again, we didn't want to spend money, we were always spending money to cut the grass, and no one was using the field. It seemed like a shame. So we were thinking, okay, do we just let it go back to, nature? Happened to get in touch with this gentleman, Doug Boyd. He said, hey, if I can use it, if I can bring kids in to play, I'll cut the grass, I'll maintain the property, I'll schedule everything, you guys don't have to touch it. That was wonderful. Had a great relationship going. The next time I talked with him, he was as indifferent to me as he could be, and I just got the sense that somebody talked to him and told him how terrible the township was and the whole thing. So we've been trying to make that park usable. It just hasn't panned out. So now that brings us to, and
But it's usable now.
it is, but, so that brings us to now, and I'm gonna go through the timeline that Daisy was kind enough to put together here, because again, I couldn't keep it in my head when all of this happened. So December 9th of last year, we received, the township, right, Daisy, received a PA 1 call notice from Tyson Fence. On December 10th, the next day, notification of fence installed to the township zoning officer, Max Stoner. So you contacted township engineer, right, because realizing that, hey, I think a permit's needed here, but really it's the call of the zoning officer. So then December 10th, phone call to Tyson, Mr. Jim Tyson by Supervisor Brad Sloop, notifying him that a permit is required for the fence installation. Mr. Tyson offered that he is not responsible for acquiring the permits. Supervisor Sloop requested he notify the party that is responsible to acquire the proper permits. Jim Tyson requested and was provided the township engineer's contact information. And just a couple days before Christmas, December 23rd, 2024, active work began on the fence installation. Approximately 9:30, digging holes to install the fence posts began. Same day, a cease and desist, a notice of violation was emailed and mailed via regular mail to John and Rebecca Schulze. And I forget your roles as the president of RTCA.
Yes,
I don't
I'm
wanna
the
get it wrong.
president.
You're president?
Yes.
And John, you are
I am the secretary.
secretary. Okay, so again, the township notified who needed to be notified with a cease and desist. Same day, an email response from the president of RTCA requesting the zoning officer reconsider his decision and respond back by December 26th. Well, December 24th, Tyson Fence was installing and cementing posts for the fence in the ball field. This was approximately 10 o'clock in the morning. John and Rebecca of RTCA were in the gravel parking lot and witnessed, their contractor doing the work. On December 27th, Tyson Fence installed the outfield fence, and according to the timeline here, John, you were present. On January 8th, provide documentation of fence install at the RTCA park to the floodplain administrator, Mr. Gordon Warren here. On January 23rd, there was no appeal filed, so the RTCA had the right, Bruce, step in here if I missed something or misquote, but had the right to, appeal to the zoning hearing board within 30 days of December 23rd, the first time that ground was broken, right? So a cease and desist letter was issued from the zoning officer. And just so you know, I mean, the township doesn't wanna bust people's stones, you know, if somebody doesn't, because it happens all the time.
I mean, you
Some
didn't
folks-
have
some-
to
some-
give a cease and
Hold on, Dan, please. Some folks, you know, you get, it's not everybody's area of expertise. And so you try to work with folks, but John's a smart guy, Becky's a smart lady. I mean, they understand how all this works. John was a supervisor, he used to sit right here, so he understands how that works. So, you know, you kind of get a little bit frustrated when somebody says, well, hey, you know, I should get some kind of special consideration because, and I don't think John's gonna say he didn't understand it, he just essentially ignored the cease and desist. And further, when John was on the board here as a supervisor, the fine then, at the time, was $500 a day. And John, I don't recall you ever having an issue with giving other people that fine.
It sounds like it's a
Further, I
personal
checked-
issue instead of a
No,
fence
it's
issue.
not.
It is actually a problem.
Okay.
Yep,
I'm
it
trying to
definitely
give you the
is.
backstory, so you understand both sides.
We don't need it.
You-
We don't need
I
it.
understand.
It's about the
that. That's
situation
all.
now.
It's
about where we are
Forget he's even here.
Today.
Right.
How to
Okay.
move forward, what to do
Okay,
best.
please hold your comments till.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
you're making it more of a person
Right.
with the backstory.
Yep.
He did this to us.
Do you
didn't
not
let us
wanna know?
figure out
No,
the bugs.
it
It doesn't matter what he did 10 years
Right.
ago.
Get over it.
He wasn't even here.
I mean,
Well,
it's
no,
a tit
it
for
doesn't
tat at
matter.
this point, and now the kids are
It
suffering.
does matter because, again, this is the problem that happens when you're on the board and you try to work with, because you try to do the best you can to.
And you're suing them
work
for
with-
$12,000.
you try to
How's
work-
that?
You try to work with somebody,
$12,000.
and then if you make an exception,
Yeah, what is the 12, can you tell us what
do
the
you tell the next
$12,000
person?
is?
What do you-
Why that
What do you
amount?
tell the next person? What do you tell the next person?
go
that
help
comes in
them
and
build
says, well,
grants for
you
the
gave so-and-so,
organization."
that's what we deal with all the time. We just had it recently, somebody came in and said, hey, I wanna build a garage, it doesn't meet the setbacks or whatever, I forget what the issue was, but the first thing they do is point to, well, there's 3 other people in my development that, you know, built a garage. We don't know, we don't know what.
So you have a lot of other ball field fences being moved in your township.
Well, so, and I understand that.
No, I mean, I thought you only had
Some
one.
folks, Jeff, some folks told me that, well, they only moved it a foot, and I really didn't know how far they moved it. It was not, some folks told me they just replaced it. Well, it's not replaced, it's not a foot different, it's not 2 feet moved, it's not 3 feet moved, it's about, John, is it 30 feet? So it's a substantial.
What's it matter?
Is it within the existing ball field fence?
It
fence is
All
a
those
fence.
holes in the fence.
It meets the definition of development.
Because you can, you don't have to, you can.
Yes, we do.
You
No,
don't
we
have
do.
to.
No, we-
So will you get fined if you
I
do
think
not
the
follow
question
through
is there a
with
way
this?
to move forward?
There
That
is,
It
but
doesn't result
there-
in
there
a
is.
Permit today.
right?
There,
That's what we're trying to figure out,
I
and that's
understand.
what this is about.
Okay.
Because
again, we did not want to have to deal with this issue. I mean, it was a matter of
You gave
getting a
the cease and
permit of
desist, so you asked
150.
for the issue.
A matter of getting a permit of $150 to $200, I'm told, I wasn't sure what the figure was, $150 to $200. They would have had to do some engineering studies, Gordon, if you wish to add something here, because Gordon wrote up I think it's 5-page long direction of what needs to be done, again, because we're held to account by FEMA, the insurance, being able to provide other residents so that we can all participate in this floodplain insurance program. If we just blow it off, we cannot do that. So other residents will suffer. So all we're trying to do is preserve that ability to participate in that flood insurance program, but that means the township has to do certain things.
That is understandable, but my question is what prompted all of this on your part? Did you get contacted via another organization or association or FEMA or DEP to say, you know, we need you to get this fence removed, or was it all of you that decided that?
We as supervisors, we have an obligation, if we see something, we're to take action.
So there, okay, you answered my
Yeah, oh, yeah,
question,
yeah,
thank
okay.
you.
Go
Yeah,
after the people
Go
who don't
after.
like, right.
Question answered.
Retribution.
I think, I mean, I had sent an email to Mike Pykosh, and I said that our engineer would be happy to talk with Gordon about what he sees in the floodplain and what his analysis has shown him. I've gotten no response on that.
Now, can you say your, just so we have.
Sure, I'm Alexis McCall.
Oh, you're Alexis, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
we did speak on the phone a while back.
Yeah.
It's nice
Yeah,
to
we
meet
spoke
you.
about the ball field,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate your comment, but, where are we going with that?
Well, let me just say,
Yeah,
I started this floodplain management thing with the township, you know, it's a voluntary thing. I think it was in 2018. And in 2019, FEMA sent us a model ordinance that we had to follow to be, retain our inclusion in the NFIP, the National Flood Insurance Program. And if you don't, then you're kicked off it, and then people can't get flood insurance. And so we incorporated that into our zoning ordinance. And, you know, the only issue is that that ordinance says, if you're gonna have something, build something in the floodplain, you have to get a zoning permit. That's all we asked for, is a zoning permit. And in that letter we sent to them, we said, you need to get a zoning permit, here are the items that are in the ordinance that you need to do. And there was no response. So, you know, what can we do? I mean, we
There
wanna
was a
play ball.
response, Gordon.
Huh?
There was a response.
There was a response, but it wasn't in accordance with what the ordinance says.
Gordon, do you know how much all the studies you asked for are
No,
gonna cost?
there's one study.
Yeah, and what did that cost?
And the survey and everything like that?
Well, a survey, you have to have.
$15,000.
And we had 30 days.
Yeah.
John, you were a supervisor, can a person use financial hardship to justify getting around?
No, but we did ask for an extension though, did we not? We did come to you and ask for an extension, did we not?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I think the issue,
And we would like to talk to Gordon, but we can't.
part of the
We
issue.
want to move
The
forward.
question is,
Part of the issue is, when you enter into a project, you always have to consider permits. You know, and if you made grants and stuff, you should have made, application for a grant that included certain amount of money for permits. And that wasn't done.
But there also is things called retroactive permits. So we could move forward and,
Now, that's a legal issue, I don't know anything about that.
oh, it's true.
Can I ask a question? So if that fence would have been put in the same exact spot and was replaced, is that a difference?
If it was put at exactly the same place, it would have been a replaced in kind, but it wasn't, it was moved.
So what you're saying then is that if that fence was put in the same exact location, no permit, no nothing,
You
would have been needed?
still have to get a permit, but there wouldn't be the requirement that you have to do an analysis to show that you're not inducing any increase in the 100-year flood elevation. And that's what the permit says.
So if I replace a fence, you have to get a permit, even if it's the same fence, I'm just putting in new poles, you have to get a new permit?
Well, you have to get a permit because you're doing development in the floodplain.
Just because it's in the floodplain though?
Yep.
If it's outside the floodplain, you don't need a
Yeah, I don't
necessarily.
have it outside the floodplain. It depends.
What is that, the 100-year floodplain?
Yes, it is.
Was water up there in the last 100 years?
FEMA did an original study back in, whenever it was, 79. And they produced the maps and they identify where the floodplain is. And, you know, you can go look them if you want, but they come up almost to the township building and up to the road almost.
I've talked with the engineer actually in anticipation of where we're headed with things. And what he's told me is because initially the ball fields had dugouts, which were barriers and some other stuff that's been removed. In looking at that, there's actually less development on the ball fields than there was before, so the incidence of flooding should be less because there's less development. I'm not the engineering expert, and that was why I had encouraged conversation between your floodplain person and our engineer to sit down and talk about these things to see if there was a way to resolve this before we go to the magistrate's office.
Well, I think
And that's been my goal the whole time,
I
is
think that's
trying
where
to
the
figure this
solicitor
out.
left it.
I mean, and
Left it is-
I've kind of,
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were asking kind of a question there
Well,
about the
I'm-
engineers getting together.
I haven't gotten
Okay,
any
okay.
response.
Oh, I was about to give you one, that's why I was trying to, but go ahead, finish.
But what I'm trying to, what I've been trying to do for the last couple of weeks without much resolution is trying to come up with a solution that is beneficial to both sides. And not getting anywhere.
Beneficial to both sides is great, but it still has to meet the ordinance.
Right, and I
That's
thought-
the, and that's
Sure.
why we were gonna get the engineer together with, and also the floodplain, so RTCA's engineer, and also the township engineer, and Gordon with his expertise, and see what can be done.
Okay, so we can do that then?
That was,
That was after the $15,000 study.
no, that's a separate, the ignoring the cease and desist is a separate issue. You don't just do that, and
I
John
mean,
knows that.
issuing it in the first place is a separate issue too. I mean, it wasn't necessary.
We would have issued it to anyone. Right? I mean,
That's what,
I don't
I
think so.
believe.
Anyone
why
would
not?
have, yeah.
Why not?
I don't
when you're
believe
trying
you
to
should have,
enforce-
but you probably
When you're trying to
would have.
enforce an ordinance that is a legal ordinance and folks ignore it, well, then what else do you have to do, have available as a tool to encourage compliance with the ordinance? Again, we didn't write the ordinance, we just adopted what FEMA told us we needed to
Remember
do.
those slides over there at the park stop and water flow too? You gonna make them tear them down?
I can't tell you about that, I don't know what the elevation is,
Well, I
I
mean,
don't know what they're.
Jim, you're worried about this, you know, provide the studies that you did for the boardwalk, when you guys put in the boardwalk,
Yeah,
and when
you know,
you did the
that-
deck and
that-
ADA
I
ramp.
don't know what was done with, how that was done, I wasn't here, I didn't.
You were, the
No,
boardwalk,
the rebuilding of it was, but the original placement of the board.
2015,
Is that when the?
yeah, and then the ADA ramp
Well,
and deck
hey,
are
if I'm
2021.
wrong- If I'm wrong, I'll tell you what, I thought it was here when I came, so
No.
I'm wrong on that then, okay. I thought you were talking about the rebuilding of it too. and that-
Well, the rebuild was 2022, but,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna hold our feet to the fire for replacing this fence, which, okay, it moved, but we have less fencing out there than we did before.
Stayed within the
Okay.
ball
And it
field.
stayed within the ball field.
So if the
It
old
wasn't
fence
a
was there,
fence separate from, like,
So-
standalone fence.
I don't think it's helpful arguing back and forth. I think really, is there a way we can figure this out?
Well,
That's
what we just talked about, yes, again, township engineer and your engineer, and get together with Gordon, if Gordon's, on board with that, I think he is. Gordon has already met with, DEP, so did JT Graufensperger, who's, another one of our volunteers. Again, they met together with the DEP folks to try to figure out, okay, how do we fix, if we're in violation of township?
Did you
How
meet
do
with
we
them
know?
about the ball fields or about a separate issue?
No, it's a separate
Separate
issue,
issue, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've met with DEP as well, and we're gonna comply with everything that they're requiring. And that was what I had suggested could be a settlement option as well. We would comply with anything the DEP requires in order to be in compliance with everything. And what I asked for was, would that meet your needs as well from the township's perspective?
Well, the township ordinance is more restrictive than the federal. And it's been that way since at least 2011 and before that. Instead of being just the floodway, the 100-year floodplain is considered by the township to be the floodway where you can't build in. And the reason that was done is because the 100-year flood seems to come around every time you turn around. The discharges have been increasing, and it just makes sense to the township that you keep the development out of the floodplain.
How is a fence a development?
I have a
I just don't
question.
understand.
If the fence allows water to go through it, what does it matter if it floods?
Is it creating a hazard for
Dur-
anyone's
during a large-
property?
During a large flood, there's always a lot of debris that's carried down the stream.
So the
it's gonna
smaller
get hung
fence
up
will
on it.
carry less debris.
What if it's a thin flood and they come down and take it down?
If it does, it does.
No,
But how do I know that?
Then the flood would be able to get through.
My understanding is in the modeling software, the only thing that they would need to include are the posts, not the fence, not the posts.
That's up to the hydraulic engineer that does the
I'm not
study.
the expert, but I guess is there a way we
Can we get a permit now if we give you the $180?
Yes, retroactive permits do exist.
Can we issue the permit today?
No, it doesn't work that way,
Who
Dan.
does permits around here?
Doesn't look-
So who writes the
Do you
permit?
want me to just flip a piece of paper over, right on the permit?
Yeah, sign it on a permit.
It doesn't work that way. Again, we've got to adhere to what FEMA and PEMA require in order to keep flood insurance available for residents that are in that floodplain. So this isn't just
You
a,
also have the
You
ability
stay
to
in one?
settle legal disputes, and this
Correct.
is a legal dispute,
Yes, you do.
Yeah, doesn't want to.
right?
yeah, as long, but how do you get compliance with?
Well, I
meeting
just,
the-
I just suggested a way, which is to, we're gonna comply with what DEP requires, right?
But then
Yeah.
when that compliance is received, then we can consider that. I have in the past met with members of RTCA to try to talk things through. And it just didn't go anywhere. And again, I received that email, Sean, I think you received an email also from, the treasurer, Dan Haycock, asking us to meet with a couple of folks about this. And at this point, again, now it's a legal issue, and are we gonna get,
Cause you made it
ourselves in a
illegal.
bigger pickle by trying to, so, you know, at some point, you gotta stop and just say, hey, you know, let it play out. And again, if the engineers can get
Well,
together
I
and
mean,
make it
and
work,
that's,
that's
and
wonderful.
if that's your position, that's fine, we'll let it play out. I just was trying to.
I think it's the only option.
That,
At
and that's
this
fine,
point,
but
at
that
this
was, I
point.
think, what
At
the
this
intention
point.
of trying to
It's
settle
not
it and
the
trying to
only
come
option.
to you in
Not the only
advance
option.
was why we were trying
When
to
you
settle it,
issue them
figure
a
it out.
permit and we all go away, the other option.
Just keep showing. Who issued the permit for the boardwalk you did there?
Then that,
The
I'm
board.
not
He
gonna
doesn't
try to.
know.
I'm not
Exactly,
gonna
you
try
didn't
to
get
tell
it
them
wrong.
that
He
we
doesn't
did it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even wide enough
So-
for a wheelchair, I've looked at it. I mean, you
So-
call it an
so
ADA
there's-
ramp, there's
there's-
nothing ADA.
Yeah, so that's
there's the
okay
thing,
then.
You try to work with somebody, you try to do something nice, and man, it just kinda like.
Kinda like putting a fence on a ball field.
Not doing anything nice.
So that's
you're
why
just
you
being-
stick with the black and white and what the
But
ordinance
again,
says. so
what
everybody's
prompted
getting it.
this whole
Pardon?
You're not doing
entire
anything
thing?
nice. What are you trying to do nice?
You're preventing.
Shutting
I
down their
think we're
softball
done.
field?
Yeah, the
You're
kids are not
basically
gonna have
Jesus.
a place to play. And again, what prompted this?
You don't have any kids, I'm assuming, probably. Yeah, they're older or what?
They like
You don't care if they, how they turn out exactly, yeah.
It's a
Well, this isn't
softball
gonna be
field.
productive anymore. So again, where we're gonna leave this is the township engineer and our TCA engineer will get together, and Gordon, did you have something to add in there before?
Well, the only thing, if you're asking what prompted it was RTCA refusing to submit a permit application, period. That's what prompted it.
$15,000.
Dan, please. 30 days. Let's be civil, let the
You're being
conversation.
civil.
Being
We're
civil, you're
listening.
not.
I'm trying to keep
Yeah.
everybody, one person speaking
No
at a
one
time.
thinks that but you.
Pardon?
No one thinks that but you. You're not, you won't let him talk.
This is the first time I think I've asked him to, and it was
No,
asked of
no, it's not
everybody.
the first.
It's not the
Mr.
first.
Warden
It's not the first.
is speaking, let him finish.
Well, I'm done. I mean, the question was what prompted the notice of violation? The notice of violation was prompted because RTCA refused to submit a permit request for development in the floodplain. That's what prompted it. If had they complied, we would have reviewed it, and if it complied with what the requirements are, and $15,000 sounds like a hell of a lot for an H&H study that's just along the, I mean, you're not even doing the study, you're recoding the HEC 2 run and putting it into HEC RAS and turning the crank. So if you wanna pay $15,000 for that, go ahead. Maybe-
I don't know what it costs, I'm just repeating what they said.
You asked for full survey.
I asked for one cross-section survey, so we can model what's going on.
Not what your letter said.
Yes, it does.
Survey of the property,
It said full survey of the property.
signed by a PLS
No,
or
it
PE.
said a site plan of the property, and I also qualified, it only has to be in the vicinity of where the fence is and downstream. Read it, read the letter.
We did.
We did.
We'll let you talk to the engineer then, as long as that's allowed.
As long as what's allowed.
You talking to the RTCA engineer about it.
We can,
Hopefully
I'll
that'll
talk to
happen.
him, but the problem still persists, that you need to submit an application for a zoning permit,
As everyone does.
as
It's
everyone
not just
does.
because
In
it's
fact, most
RTCA.
times when people have a project coming up, they come into the planning commission, and we sit down and look at it, and we say, well, you know, and then you can look at like any subdivision we've had here for the last 12 years, and you'll see that there's a setback line where there can be no building in the floodplain. And the people that bring their projects in, they say, okay, well, we'll do that. But you didn't even come in to talk to the planning commission, that's what the planning commission's there for.
Replacing
It's a fence, I still don't understand this.
Replacing a fence.
Yeah, if it was a building or another structure or anything, it's a fence.
It's a
Is there a
fence.
way to request a permit that was issued for that boardwalk?
So, hold on a second.
Well, I already told you there was probably not one done.
There was not one done,
Wow.
okay, thank you. All right,
Hold on a
that's all I
second.
needed to
Who
know.
looked the other way there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it was done by the township, so that was fine. But now
No,
that somebody else is
no.
requesting it, it's not fine.
So we're sitting here talking about the permits.
Mhm.
There was a township meeting back in 2006 where it said that the ball field did not need a permit
For what?
for,
Everything in the floodplain.
so the meeting minutes, let me just pull it up here.
And that was prior to the ordinance we got from FEMA in
It's different.
2019.
It's different.
It's different.
Okay, it said, any new improvements requires approval from RTCA, the supervisors, and the rec board. And then it said,
Thing within the ball field did not need a permit.
work completed within the ball field fence requires no permit from DCNR. Work completed outside the ball field fence requires a permit from DCNR and/or the Army Corps of Engineers.
That was 2006?
It was.
Okay. I'd say provide that along with the discussion when the engineers and floodplain administrator meet.
Well, that whole deal was about wetlands.
No, it was not.
The boardwalk was.
Yeah, let's not get into the back and forth. Let's let the-
We don't know backstory now.
Because we didn't get a permit for that, but that's okay.
Right.
Because we're the township, we don't need one, but everyone else does.
Rip it out,
Okay.
you don't want it there, rip it out.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about that, it's about
It's
you
not
not
the
getting a
Yeah.
permit to do that, but yet.
What about over there at the RTCA, the bridges over there, did they get permits for them?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah,
they
actually,
did.
yeah.
And then I came
They got a permit there, why
Now
didn't
we're
they get a
even.
permit for the fence?
There you go, yeah, now
Because
we're
it's existing.
Because it was an existing fence that just moved, within the field, it's not like it went back, I get if it moved back.
Yeah.
It was right when you
In the
played
field.
ball.
Okay, folks, well, hey, seriously, we're not gonna agree on this
Yeah,
evening.
definitely
We're
not.
gonna
Of course
move
not.
forward with the engineers and the floodplain manager meeting. And, you know, we don't wanna shut the park down, but again, we have an obligation to.
You're going to, right?
Just shut it down
No.
and make the kids cry.
Yeah,
do one.
shut it down.
Even if the fence, if you pulled the fence out today, would kids not be able to play on
From what I understand, it would cost $12,000
No, no,
because
no.
they would have to pay the grant
it?
back.
Without, we're talking about strictly the fence, if the fence was not there, could the kids still play?
If that fence
So
was
no
not
one,
there,
no
could the
one's
kids still
stopping the
play?
kids from playing.
My answer is no, because no one would be maintaining the park anymore.
No, RTCA would still be.
No, they
No,
wouldn't.
No, we won't.
And you wanna mow it, then
No,
yeah, we're in.
without,
Then
I'm
they've got
talking about
to be
without
done.
regard to the fine.
I answered your question. If you don't like it, that's fine.
They
That's
got,
my
they
answer.
got a grant for
Okay.
the fence.
There's no one maintaining that field if they go bankrupt.
Okay, well, again, thanks everyone for coming out.
You're welcome.
It's appreciated.
Yeah, we'll see you again.
Motion to adjourn. Second.